buffs and film connoisseurs. It is your self-proclaimed cinema shogun here. And I gotta admit, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it could happen. I didn't think anyone could undermine 10 years worth of MCU in under 1 hour. I didn't think it was possible for one episode of a television show to put such a big damper on 10 years worth of solid MCU storytelling. But like many of you, I tuned into the season premiere of Loki on Disney Plus. And like many of you, I witnessed that happen right before my eyes, as they pulled out a drawer full of Infinity Stones and had to watch and listen as they were compared to paperweights. Now, I already have my full review for episode 1 up on the channel. You can go check it out. But since posting that review, I just had to sit there, and it dwelled on me for a while. And this line just kept playing in my head over and over again. That Iron Man sacrificed himself over some paperweights. Iron Man died over some paperweights. The whole of the MCU leading up to Endgame, or until after Endgame, was over some paperweights. The stones that the entire MCU up until this point revolved around were just reduced and diminished to a one-off joke. I don't know about you all, but when these Marvel shows drop, a lot of times I go back and revisit a lot of the MCU. You know, like before WandaVision dropped, I went back and rewatched Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Most of the movies, you know, that had Vision or Scarlet Witch involved, had to watch Age of Ultron. You know, when Falcon and Winter Soldier dropped, I went back and watched Civil War, watched Captain America the Winter Soldier. When Loki dropped, I went back and I watched some of the Thor films, like even Thor Dark World, one of the worst MCU films ever. I went back and revisited those. And it's just so much of the original MCU storyline revolves around these stones. In fact, I would make the argument that these stones play a bigger role in the MCU than half of the characters. I mean, really think about it. Really think about it. Go back. Captain America 1 was revolved around the Tesseract. The Tesseract played a pretty big part in Captain Marvel. We have Thor Dark World surrounding the Ether. We have the Power Stone or the Orb in Guardians of the Galaxy. The Mind Stone that formed Vision. The Mind Stone that was in Loki's scepter in Avengers 1. The Tesseract that was in Avengers 1. The Time Stone in Doctor Strange. All of these movies, if you go back, just about all of them, in some way, shape, or form, revolve around these stones. And now, these stones are just a running joke. These stones are just paperweights sitting in some office in a drawer, tucked away, like some paper clips and old rubber bands. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Marvel has this thing about crapping on other things in order to boost other things up. So in order to make this hero look cool, or to make one hero look powerful, they have to diminish the other one. They have to tear the other one down to build the other one up. And that's very much what this Loki show is doing. It's just the first episode, we see that they've tore down the whole backbone of what the MCU was set on for the first, you know, however many phases, for the first however many years up until this point. And they do this with the characters as well. I mean, look at Loki. Loki is one of the biggest threats in the MCU. Yet at the beginning of the show, 3 time cops pop up and slight work easily take Loki as prisoner. Hardly a fight, you know, there's hardly a fight put up. And throughout the show, at least through episode 1, Loki's character is kind of diminished. And it's diminished for a reason. His character is broken down for a reason, and it's to build this other Loki up that he's supposed to go down and hide. Because you have to ask yourself, common sense, If Loki is who we're after, then why wouldn't you take this Loki as a bigger threat? You see, no, they didn't take this Loki as a big threat in episode 1. They sent a few grunts out there to go capture him. They left him to his own devices in a room by himself. They weren't taking him seriously. Yet they take this other iteration of Loki, or this other variant of Loki so seriously that they feel the need to recruit him to go find him. Why is that? Why must you diminish the power level of this Loki to make the other Loki look better? I'm assuming it's probably going to be a female Loki. Maybe that's why. And it's not like we haven't seen this in the MCU before. I mean, really go back and watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I had no problem with Falcon becoming Captain America. What I had a problem with in that show is, instead of Falcon just becoming Captain America, the whole show was basically trashing Steve's legacy. The whole show was about this convoluted history of the S.H.I.E.L.D. and what it meant. All of this bad history behind the S.H.I.E.L.D. How the world needs heroes who aren't blonde-haired, blue-eyed Steve Rogers. So it very much tarnished the legacy of who Captain America was in order to make Anthony Mackie's Captain America look better. But you see, the history of Captain America's S.H.I.E.L.D. is just that. It's Captain America's S.H.I.E.L.D. Captain America was the first person to have the S.H.I.E.L.D. He got frozen alive with the S.H.I.E.L.D. He got thawed with the S.H.I.E.L.D. And then he passed the S.H.I.E.L.D. down to Anthony Mackie's Falcon, Sam Wilson. That's the history of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Yet in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the whole show is about diminishing the history of the S.H.I.E.L.D. The history of what the S.H.I.E.L.D. meant. Even though the history of what the S.H.I.E.L.D. meant was just Steve Rogers, Captain America, defending freedom. We've seen it in Captain Marvel, where Nick Fury, he's an intimidating character in the MCU and Marvel in general. He's a big character. And he was diminished. Basically a running joke next to Carol Danvers, next to Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. So it's not something that we haven't seen before. I mean, let's go to Endgame, for example. We have Thanos, a villain who they built up for so long, and then they just shoehorn in Captain Marvel. She pops up and almost handles Thanos herself, just to make her look cool, just to prop her up. And I don't like that. I don't see the need to why we have to crap on pre-established characters in order to boost anyone up. So I have a good feeling that this show is going to be a lot about making this Loki less intimidating and more so of a running joke compared to the new female Loki who they will be establishing in this universe. That's just my guesses. I'm not sure if that's where it'll go, but I would not be surprised. But that's not even my biggest issue. My biggest issue are the Power Stones, are the Infinity Stones, the Tesseract. Like, why do you feel the need to make it a joke? Like, is it really worth it? Even if it landed for some people, which for the most part it didn't. But even if the joke lands with some people, is it really worth it? You have to be conscious of where you've come from. You have to be conscious of what the Infinity Stones mean in Marvel lore, and especially in the MCU. But you see, they've taken it to a new low. Not only are they ready to crap on the comics that you watch or that you read growing up, but they're ready to go ahead and crap on the MCU. They're like, that's how fast the snowball is moving and building downhill. Okay? They're to the point that they're fully prepared to crap on the MCU itself. They're to the point where they're fully ready to crap on where they've come from and what has gotten them this far. And when these things like this keep happening in these shows and in these movies, you have to ask yourself, is this really a coincidence? Because it's over and over again. Everything that we love, everything they build up, they destroy, and they just crap all over it. And I'm starting to think that this is on purpose. I feel like very much they want to shake off the MCU fans from the first couple of phases. They're planning on doing a lot of stuff here that they know real Marvel fans aren't down for. The real comic book readers, the real people who have invested a lot of their lives into this stuff, they know that we're not down for it. So that little Loki Power Stone, Infinity Stone joke, that was just to shake off some of the original fans. They're ready to take this into a crazy new direction where none of the characters you know and love will be the characters you know and love. They will all be race swapped, gender swapped. They will all identify as different sexualities and genders and furries. Who knows? But that's where they're ready to go with this. So when you see things like that, when you see things like in The Last Jedi, Luke's choices in The Last Jedi, those are very much decisions that are made for a reason. And that reason is to go ahead and shake off the real fans. The real fans who will criticize their work. The real fans who aren't just NPCs, non-playable characters, just bots roaming around, just ready to soak up whatever media they can get, whatever entertainment they can get, without a critical thinking mind. So when you see things like this, I want you to realize, ladies and gentlemen, that none of this is a coincidence. None of this is just a silly or a stupid choice made by these writers and filmmakers. This stuff is thought out by people who have way more invested in it than me and you. Millions of dollars. Hours upon hours of time. These things happen for a reason. This Infinity Stone joke being the latest one. And it very much, I believe, happened for a reason. And that is to crap on what the MCU has been thus far in order to prop up what the MCU will be going forward. But I want to know what you all think about this. Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, I want you to find some time out of your day to go watch a movie. In fact, go back and watch the first few phases of the MCU, and you tell me if they had very much to do with the Infinity Stones. You tell me if the Infinity Stones deserve to be locked in a drawer and used as paperweights.